laptop. Okay, your laptop today is between 200 and 300 times more powerful than that computer we were so proud of. And couldn't believe it. Wow. And I said, well, there is a ticket company called Ticketron. They're nationwide. They're owned by Control Data. That's a multi-billion-dollar company up there in Minneapolis. And I just read in Time Magazine, IBM chairman of the board said, this is in the early 70s. He's in Time Magazine, that the day is coming when there'll be 5 computers in America. There'll be 10 to 12 stories high. One will be in New York, one will be in Chicago, one will be in Houston, one will be in San Francisco or something. There'll be 5 of them. And all of the computers and all of the terminals of America for houses and companies will all feed into these. That's it. You're telling me that the chairman of the board of IBM is wrong and you grad students at ASU are right? I don't even understand this stuff. He said, and they were persistent and they explained it to me and they spent several hours. And I said, you know what? Let's go for it. I'll take a chance. And I funded the computer program and bought the computer company. And they said, okay, well, we were sitting around my living room. I said, well, what are we going to call the company? Well, we don't know. We want to master the ticket business. Why don't we call it Ticketmaster? I said, okay, go downtown and start a corporation. Let's do it. Now, there came a time when it was growing. I had to run it in a sense. And I was 3 young boys I was raising with my wife, of course. And our social life in town and family and friends and business. And I'm starting another golf course. Never played golf with my wife. I've hired Jack Nicholson, guys like that to build it for me. And all these other things we were doing. We were doing a deal a week. And they said, well, you've got to run this. Mr. Nelson goes, we don't know that. We're grad students. You know, I said, okay. So I went and set up a one in New Orleans, which was a brand new Superdome. And then I went to Norway and I sold it. I'm Norwegian background. I sold it to the Norwegian government. They liked it. And I sold it to London to the British theater owners. Came back and they said, now we got to go nationwide. Well, this was a sea change for me. And I had to decide. I knew it was going to make a lot of money. But where we were building this planned community was about 4 miles from my house. So I could go home and have lunch with my kids on Saturday or Sunday. I could be with them when they came home from school. And I could be with the family and friends. If I took this thing on, I was going to live out of a suitcase and go all around the nation. Making a lot of money, but no family. So I said, I never wanted to sell it, and I could have done it. But I'm not sorry. I sold it to the Pritzker. Jay and Maureen Pritzker of Hyatt Hotel Corporation. And they took it up to now it's about $70 billion something. I sold that one with peanut, but they haven't changed the style. Not a bit. That computer program has been improved, and I think the fundamental program is still the same. The point of this story is not that, the point of it, there's so much more that you can do, whether it's in this or service business, or in food, or in manufacturing, all sorts of things. It's still passionately moving forward with passionate, persistent, write this down, self-disciplined men and women. You impose discipline upon yourself. There's no one else who will do it. Mom's not there anymore. She loves you, but she's not with you. And your dad's not with you every day. And your buddies, they may give you good ideas, but they don't invite you to go have beer with them all the time. Sometimes it's good, and sometimes it's bad. You make up your mind. But I tell you, you are on your own. But if anybody tells you you can't do something dynamically valuable they are just missing the boat. There is so much change and growth and development and good new services to come in America over the next 10, 15, 20 years. We'll look back and laugh at this year and say, remember back then? It's amazing, that's the way we used to do it. You have to have vision for the future, but you have to have self-imposed discipline. And we may be wrong, we businessmen, we managers, but we have to make decisions out of what we see. Not that we're doing it like this, but we're doing it with that of that 300 or 400 people working in this little company we've got with a lot of competition. And they're counting on us to find the best management to take us forward in a highly competitive atmosphere. We owe that to them who are producing the service and producing the product, whatever it is. And they're counting on us to persevere in a very competitive society in the United States of America. That's what goes on in our lives. And that's when we look at you as a graduate. That's what we're analyzing. In a dynamic company that has to grow or fall. They can't stay still. Nothing stays still. It either grows or it begins to fail. I have some other points, and I urge you to ask questions anytime you want. You're not interrupting me at all. Questions. We interact with each other. You have to understand that. You do understand. Your intellect tells you that. But that's when you get out of school and you're in a company, you can't decide to change classes or stop going around with this girl and start going around with that. You're in with people that you have to work with 8 hours a day, and your temperament has to be reasonable. And it has to be proactive, positive. I hope you write down your notes for the rest of your life. And I hope you will take your, you don't have to tell anyone. You may want to, but you may not want to. Get rid of your bad habits. Now, if you're Mr. Perfect, well, then you're not like me. And you just have nothing to improve on at all. But if you want to be effective, if you want to be trusted, you need to be a man that will deal with this habit and shortcomings. I like the statement. I think I covered your attitude. That's the second thing. You have to have a positive attitude. Your attitude is the only other thing you control in your life. And if you have a negative attitude, boy, you will become at a critical moment. You always have crises, and then they go. And you fail to make a goal, figure out how to get home. Oh, okay, we do this, and okay, we're on. But at that moment of crisis, we have to work together. And we can't play the blame game. And that becomes a habit, blaming other people for our own errors. And that's how you form a team you trust. I know that everyone on our team has made mistakes, because I know me. I've made mistakes. Deliberately, of course not. Do I wish I hadn't? Yes. Did I know I was going to make a mistake? No. But if you don't follow through, you will. It becomes a habit, and the blaming of other people is human nature, not to accept responsibility. Your ethics are absolutely essential in a free country. Under a dictatorship, you don't have to have ethics. You just do what you're told, or you're controlled. Anything else you want me to cover on that? What? Fear. Both men and women. But for a man, fear is a major element in his life. And he doesn't want to admit it because he's got a big ego. We have male egos. Fear of failures. God, everybody's going to be all over it. Fear of being criticized. Fear of not doing well. And those are, welcome to the human race. But you can't let it run your life. You got to move beyond fear and keep going. And if your fear is well placed and it's logical, then change course. That was a good warning you got. I am absolutely convinced that there are many, many new companies to be formed and many old companies to be reformed. Reformation in terms of improving their product or improving their service. And you can be a part of that. And management is looking for enthusiastic, openly communicating young men and young women who say yes. And they'll say, hey, we need them on our team. We need them. Those are the kind of people we need on our team. And we don't expect you to be perfect, but we expect you to be perfectly honest and perfectly loyal. And do the best you can. And we all want from there. Life is fantastic when you're all out. But it's never perfect. And from other companies, I've never played a game of golf in my life. I hired a professional golfer to build, I built a community in Scottsdale called Troon Village. And I had to have a professional designer because I never played golf in my life, but sport did. And I got to talking with a golfer by the name of Tom Weisskopf, and we did it all. Got into an argument first right off. But it was a friendly argument, of honest disagreement. But out of that, I began to trust him because he crossed my will. And he was right, and I was wrong. And I felt it. And I said, yes, this man, I like that. This is the man I want to be. And so we built what's called Troon Village and Troon Golf. And it went over so well. It was not that big. It was about, I don't know, 900 homes and 18 holes of golf. And then we went and did another one called Troon North, which was 36 holes, Tom Weisskopf. And then we had about 1,650 homes there. And it went well. I liked it. Winning was fun. I liked to win. But I've been in companies where we lost the whole money we put in it. But you have to get up and go out in the morning and say, okay, today's going to be a better day than yours. It's an attitude. It's an attitude you take to your heart. And it becomes part of your life. You can do that. Every single one of you can do that. Does that mean you'll never have a bad day? Of course not. You'll have a difficult day. Not really a good day. But you'll have a tough day.